Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. By the way, I could sit here and talk combine prep and the whole nine with you for another couple hours for sure. So we'll make sure we do that at some other time. But as far as what you have going on personally, I know you're just about to finish up your doctorate degree. Tell us a little bit about your dissertation and really your influence in cueing and how we communicate, to your point, how we communicate to our athletes or to whomever.
Well, the story actually, again, goes back to college. When I was, like many individuals, watching my mentors coach, one of which actually primarily worked with bodybuilders, what I became enamored with was, in that regard, his ability to communicate, instruct and cue, and provide feedback in a way that got his clients to feel the pump, feel the exercise in a way no other coach could. And for whatever reason, that was just magnified for me as an intern. And I always had it in the back of my mind, I need to write a book one day called The Form Within, because this cueing thing, there's something to it. Because even at that time, I was told coaching is an art, which means whatever you learn from the coach in front of you, who you are apprenticing or you're mentoring under, they're going to give you basically their skill set, and then your job is to take, mimic, and build upon. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to take a young coach and an experienced coach and provide them with the toolkit with which they can express their art. So about 2 years running into the NFL Combine, just started, I saw our results were kind of maintaining at 0.12 to 0.15 seconds for a 4 to 8 week process, which by all regards, talking to track coaches, that's pretty darn good. That's not bad at all. But for me, it's like, well, let's be real. A tenth of a second should just be their physical recovery from a very difficult season, which for me, I want to see 2/10. I'm selfish. I'm a strength coach. I want to see that improvement. So I opened up the dustiest book I had from school on motor learning. I'm like, well, this book is about how people learn. So let me make sure that I'm teaching in a way that is most efficacious to optimize results. And once I got into that motor learning text, I saw it in a completely different light than I did in college. And I started seeing things about instruction and cues and feedback and practice design. Just simply discussing, should you go part, whole, part? Should you go whole, part, whole? How should you actually construct a session? How do you effectively select drills? And inevitably, I started nailing down each of those scientific areas to find, if you would, the toolkit. And the one that got me the most excited, because it involved every aspect of the training session, was cueing and instruction, generally speaking. And pretty quickly I saw that there was data going all the way back from 1998, informed from statements in the 1870s, that attention and what we focus on when we're learning a skill has a whole heck of a lot to do with how effectively we are at learning the skill, how stickiness or how sticky that learning is, and helps fundamentally it transfer to other skills, i.e. learning a plyometric might transfer to sprinting if we can coach it in a more effective manner. And inevitably this created a little bit of a dichotomy in the research of, well, you're either cueing the body, that we called internal cues, or cueing the outcome of the task or the environment, which we called external cues. And for this conversation, we can also think of analogies and metaphors and storytelling, because they don't specifically reference the body, in that kind of external focus category. And fast forward to today, we're looking at almost 2 decades of research. As it currently stands right now, around 120 papers across gender, age, novice, expert, simple skill like balance, to sprinting, jumping, and change of direction, those with and without any kind of physical or mental disability. 97%, I'm spitballing here, of those studies have shown that an external focus is not only going to be better than an internal focus from a performance perspective, but also is going to help them retain and transfer those skills they're learning just simply by the words we say when we are teaching them. And they've even taken this so far as training people with internal cues, external cues, or just simply perform to the best of your ability over 9-week cycles, showing that indeed external cues over 9 weeks of learning plyometrics, everything's controlled, only difference is the cues, external cues trumps internal cues. And when you're dealing with 1% of 1% changes with some of the elite athletes we work with, those kind of strategies, those toolkits matter a whole heck of a lot. And I'll say something quite simple. While the data is quantitative, it's still an anecdotal observation. The second I started applying these principles to how I cued, how and when I provided feedback, how I designed my practice sessions, more things than we're even discussing now, our average improvements went from mid 0.15 about 0.2 to 0.22 as an average. And I saw that bump come up, and the only thing I was doing differently with my groups was how I was communicating, which compelled me to do the crazy thing of getting a doctorate degree while I was working. But you know, I'm a few months away from closing that chapter.